Welcome to another edition of the post-game wrap. I'm Jared Johnson, and 34-10, Texas Tech went into Utah, and really, especially in the second half, and I have to be honest, and I'm going to touch on this later, when Will Hammond went in at quarterback, Texas Tech boat raced Utah at Rice-Eccles Stadium, which lived up to its billings. Tech's first time playing there, but bottom line is statement made by Texas Tech. While Rice-Eccles Stadium lived up to its billing, Utah's offensive line really didn't. Neither did Devin Dampier. Texas Tech, its defense was the star of the game. What a great performance! There's so much to unpack, and I knew there would be from this game. But the statements made is that Texas Tech, this was no fluke. Texas Tech adding these players, would they be able to put them together? Tech's 4-0. They went in and beat a top 20 opponent who's supposed to be almost impossible to beat at home when they're healthy and all that. The stadium atmosphere absolutely, at least what I saw on TV, I was not there, but lived up to its billing as a very tough place to play. Tech was very undisciplined. That's something we need to address. So many penalties, which was extremely frustrating as Tech blew opportunity after opportunity on the offensive side when the defense would step up and make plays. But I want to go positive, like I've been saying on the board anywhere. I may have already said this in this video, but it's the biggest win in my mind since 2008. Now there have been some wins that were huge within a season in terms of like get bowl eligible and things like that. When you've upset Texas, you upset OU before they left, all that stuff. But in terms of from the national landscape and people kind of raising their eyebrows at Texas Tech, like, okay, this is the first time since 2008 that Tech has been able to do that, to really grab people's attention on the field, not winning the offseason, but on the field. That defense, wow, unbelievable. I want to, I know defensive coordinator Shieldwood said stats are for losers, but these stats show how they were winners and absolutely dominant. They proved or showed that perhaps, and I don't think this is that bold of a statement, I'm probably underselling it, that Texas Tech has one of the best defenses in the country, period. The stats, Tech outgained Utah 484 to 263. Interestingly enough, Tech rushed for 173 yards, while Utah and their vaunted offensive line ran for 101. Lee Hunter, Skylar Gill-Howard made play after play. David Bailey and Romello Height, people talk about their pass rushing skills, but they did an excellent job in run defense and holding up and setting the edge. Jacob Rodriguez is absolutely one of the best players to ever play for Texas Tech and one of the best players in the country right now. I want to give you his stats because, it's very impressive. J-Rod had 11 tackles, 1 interception, and a forced fumble, that punch out. He also had a half a tackle for loss. Several other. John Curry, what a great addition having him there at star. I said it before this game. I've said it really going into the season when they said they're going to do it. Having Curry, Ben Roberts, who also punched out a ball. I think he got the ball rolling in that department. Having those 3 guys on the field at the same time, 3 of your absolute best football players, was a stroke of genius. It was a great decision. And it kind of happened by accident with Michael Dingle getting hurt, but still, whatever, it worked. They were smart enough to make that adjustment, and John Curry's becoming one of my favorite players. And if you haven't had the opportunity to hear him speak or anything, really cool dude. Brendan Jordan had a really good game too. He did have that PI, but 7 tackles, really good in pass defense. Bryce Pollock, 3rd interception in 2 games. So, what a great performance for him. But those guys up front, and I want A.J. Holmes as well. Tillman got in there and had a tackle for loss. I want to make sure I get everybody in there, but A.J. Holmes went in there and played well. Cofield, I think Braylon Rigsby got in there and did some good things. So, a tremendous. Dante Balfour had a really good game. Not a lot of missed tackles. There were some, but there's always somebody else right there to clean it up. Tech's defense was outstanding. Just outstanding. I just tip the cap. Shield Wood, all those players, James Blanchard, Cody Campbell for bringing him in. On the other side of the ball, it gets a little messy. If you watch this channel, you know I'm a huge Baron Morton fan. But objectively looking at the game, and I don't know how they're going to handle this yet, but the offense went from just barely hanging in there to dominating the game. And part of that was their defense being worn down. But the running element that Will Hammond brings to the game, the poise he played with, because it was right that when he entered the game, it was anyone's game. And him and the offensive line just completely took over the game after struggling with all those procedure penalties. 8 procedure penalties is inexcusable. So what's funny is that, and Tech turned the ball over twice. 2 interceptions thrown by Baron Morton. They both were underthrown. The Caleb Douglas one was understandable. It wasn't his fault. Coy Aiken, it was underthrown, but to have the ball taken away from you, again, another player I'm a big fan of in Coy Aiken, but that was a rough play. He didn't have his best game, but you know what? My whole point is for Texas Tech to make so many mistakes on the road in a very loud and impressive environment. I got to be honest. It exceeded my expectations in terms of not just the penalties, but just how loud they were early on. But Tech's defense and then eventually Tech's offense just took their will. And they were walking out of the stadium with 8 minutes left, 9 minutes left. That's what you want to see if you're a team going on the road. And so I always say there's the easiest way to earn respect around the country, the region or country, is to win games on the road against good teams. And Tech beat the number 16 team in the country soundly, despite making all of those mistakes in their house that, like I said, everybody kept telling me, all these Utah people, how difficult it is to beat them there. Maybe it is, or maybe it was, but it wasn't last year, and they had a lot of injuries, and that's legit. It's not an excuse. They had ridiculous amount of unlucky injuries, kind of like when Tech lost 3 quarterbacks 2 or 3 years ago. That being said, bottom line is Tech went in there and won. So it's going to be interesting. To me, as much as my affinity for Baron, I don't see how you don't take a look at Will as the starter based on that performance. So I don't know how they're going to handle that. You got 2 weeks before you play Houston, who, by the way, is undefeated. I think they have a bye right now, and then they play Oregon State. So likely, we'll be 4-0. So be 4-0 in-state Big 12 matchup on the road. So Tech has a lot of things to work on in terms of, there was a running in the kicker that cost 3 points. That was an effort play, so that didn't bother me as much. There were some pass interference plays, but again, they were being aggressive. That doesn't bother me as much. But it does. They still got to clean it up. But those procedure penalties, they should have a backup plan, like some kind of silent count, which the broadcast team was correctly talking about. But all's well that ends well. If I have a message, there are negatives, which for me, if I'm a coach, it's like, look, we have all these things we could work on. Be like, in order to keep the fellas grounded, not get the big head, and just have a letdown the next game, especially 2 weeks of all their I'm not going to say fat little girlfriends, but you know what I mean? All the people in their family telling them how great they are. All of us, people like me, all those mistakes will help keep the players grounded. That's you couldn't draw it up any better in terms of go get a dominant victory, make this huge statement, but still be like, what are you doing? And, really discipline the team and make sure that doesn't happen again. So, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot going on. Mighty Joe's going to have Jaeger shots. I'm going to do, if I can get it going, I try to do it after the first game. I'd like to do a live chat here after I get this posted for a little bit and see what the tenor is. But if I had some advice, I would say enjoy this. It's been a long time. Go have fun. Revel. Really revel and enjoy this, and enjoy it for a minute. You're not on the team. If you're on the team, then maybe you need to get back to business sooner rather than later, even with the upcoming bye. But if you're a fan, man, go enjoy it. Go have fun. Live it up. That's what I would explain. Life is short, and we all know how difficult it is to win these big games, and have had a lot of heartache in terms of following the Red Raiders throughout our lives. Go enjoy it. But This video I feel like could be an hour. I'm going to do probably around an hour. We'll see if I can get the chat going coming up. But for now, I want to thank you for watching.